Harry Weston and Tim Warne. So we hope you enjoy this story. It's one of our favourites. Boris goes camping. The day Miss Cluck was taking the class camping, everyone was very excited. When Miss Cluck said that it was almost time to set off, all the animals squealed with delight. Letitia the rabbit carried her butterfly net. Maxwell the mole clutched his teddy. The little mice each had a basket, and Fergus the fox cub was given the map. And Boris was put in charge of absolutely everything else. For Boris was an enormous, hairy, scary grizzly bear. But he was also rather kind and helpful. "Bravo!" said Miss Cluck as Boris heaved the huge bag on his back. "What would we do without you?" Miss Cluck and her class set off through the woods. Letitia chased after butterflies. Fergus puzzled over the map. Maxwell got Teddy stuck up in a tree. And the mice struggled with their baskets. Eventually, Boris caught up with them all. Poor Miss Cluck blew her whistle. "This really won't do," she said. "We must stay together." "But we're tired." Then Boris had an idea. He found room for everything in his bag, even the tired mice. "Bravo, Boris!" cheered his friends. Before long, they came to a little bridge. Boris and Letitia dropped twigs into the stream. "Come on, Boris!" "Go, Letitia!" And then everyone rushed to the other side of the bridge to see whose would come out first. But somehow Boris forgot about the bag on his back. Somehow Maxwell's teddy went splash into the water, and somehow the mice managed to cling on. Maxwell let out an enormous wail. "Oh, Boris!" he cried. Poor Boris felt so clumsy and ashamed. Miss Cluck carefully leaned over the bridge with Letitia's butterfly net, but it was no good. Teddy was floating away. Boris decided it was time to be brave. He leapt into the water. Splash! All the way up to his hairy knees. "Hurry, Boris!" Boris scooped Teddy safely out of the water. Now there were 2 dripping wet bears. "Teddy!" And Maxwell hugged them both. "Boris is the biggest, bravest, best bear," said Maxwell. "Bravo, Boris!" "Bravo, Boris!" agreed Miss Cluck. "Now, let's set up camp before there are any more accidents." The animals gathered around while Miss Cluck explained how to build a teepee. It all sounded very easy. Letitia and Maxwell collected long sticks. The mice chewed off some lengths of rope. Boris helped Fergus spread out the canvas. Then they all tried to put it together. But it was not easy. Not at all easy. Once the teepee was up, the fun really began. Miss Cluck got out a new box of chalks and let everyone draw on the teepee. It looked wonderful. Boris put Maxwell's teddy on top to dry, and off they went to pick berries for supper. Miss Cluck showed them which ones were good to eat. Boris carried the full baskets while the other animals hurried excitedly back to camp, but they were in for a shock. For their wonderful teepee wasn't quite so wonderful anymore. Someone had drawn on Miss Cluck's face. Someone had pulled down all the sticks. And someone was going to be in big trouble. Miss Cluck was very, very angry indeed. She marched straight up to the bulging canvas, reached underneath and pulled out 2 very naughty little wolf cubs. The cubs wiggled and struggled. "Do your parents know you are out in the woods alone?" asked Miss Cluck in her firmest voice. "We don't care," yelled one of the cubs rudely. "Our daddy is a big, bad wolf." "He's much bigger than you," said the other, even more rudely. "And he eats chickens for..." Supper! Boomed Boris with a great big berry-stained grin. Yikes! It's a grizzly bear. Help! It's a hungry bear. Phew! It's Boris Bear. The naughty little wolf cubs turned on their heels and fled. Boris was most confused. Oh, Boris, what a brave bear you are, smiled Miss Cluck. Now, let's put the teepee back together. Bravo for hairy, scary Boris. That evening, Boris and his friends ate a supper of toasted marshmallows and berries until the sun went down. Then Miss Cluck got out her guitar and they sang songs under the stars. Boris felt his eyelids grow heavy. It was tiring being a big, brave bear. I think I might go to bed now. He yawned. Sleep tight. Good night, Boris. Night-night. Boris snuggled down happily inside the teepee and was soon snoring. A little later, Fergus, then Letitia, Maxwell with Teddy, the mice and Miss Cluck crept into the teepee. There wasn't much room, but nobody minded a bit. After all,